Getting Dicey.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Backwards.
In joke, you guys missed it. You guys were watching our cool intro. So I think where we're at the moment, we're at the top of the turn order with Lorros. You guys feeling into this? You ready to go? Let's put on the hood.
Yes.
Hood up. Lorros, you might need to unmute yourself for this one so we can. No.
There's actually not a lot I can do, really. I'm still looking at the backs of my party. So I'm kind of like, I hear a scream. Sigg's still there. I actually can't do squat. I could probably run up and push him out the way, but I think I'm just going to, I'm just going to stand. Because I know this one up here leads to nothing, right? I'm just trying to...
That what? That's a
so just looking at the map. So in this this room up in the top here that we went up into, is there two doors? Are they two doors there? Yeah.
Yeah. Those are doorway. That's a doorway. So sorry, carry on.
And they seem to be probably by just looking at the map from what I can see, they're about the only way that anyone could actually come through if they hear him yell for help.
From your knowledge, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I mean, all the stairs back up to the sort of the ground level behind you.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to chuck myself in the door, waiting for anything, basically acting as a blockade for anything coming through, because I can't actually get to him without rushing past Sigg. Sure. I expect that Sigg's got it covered. So I'm just going to kind of protect and be ready for anything that comes through that kind of hallway area.
Yeah.
So Axe ready to go just in case.
Okay, so you're sort of underneath that walkway. Is that where you're sort of in the doorway?
Unless I've misunderstood the map a bit. Am I underneath the doorway stood where I am, or am I?
So like there's a door and there's like the passage goes. This is kind of like underneath. There's a little passage leading to this area here.
Okay, yes, I'm just sort of standing in the archway.
Oh yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Gil, over to you.
I press my back against the wall and I peer around. What do I see?
You see, well, first of all, there's a Redbrand dead at your feet. There's another Redbrand next to him in the doorway, lying dead, and just blood is just kind of seeping out from him still. And in the middle of the room behind them is just someone who's screaming for help, and he's caught up in vines. You can see him struggling against the vines.
I call out and say, "You need not die here. Surrender and tell us what we want to know. We'll see that the vines go away."
Okay. Give me a persuasion roll.
Yes. I rolled a 7.
Okay, we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. But actually, I'll give you advantage on that since he's kind of going nowhere right now. So say it's a 15. Is there anything else you'd like to do before we move on to Sigg? No? Okay, Sigg. It's over to you. You've just heard sort of Gil try and persuade the Redbrand to just give up. You've got a couple of dead Redbrands at your feet. And and the distance between you and the Redbrand is basically filled with these vines that Miraqen is currently concentrating on.
Indeed. With this knowledge, Sigg proceeds forward into the room so that he can still block the doorway so that the Redbrand cannot escape. And as he peers into the room, he assesses to see if there's anyone else in the room.
No. Well, give me a perception check.
Sigg's eyes A 6 out of 20.
Right. I mean, what you see a couple of. You see, strangely, there are like 4 Redbrand cloaks on the beds, but you notice only 3 Redbrands in the room. You're looking around. You don't see any other Redbrands.
Even a naked one.
There's not even a naked one.
Okay. So Sigg will stay standing, blocking the doorway, and point his blade towards the Redbrand. Resist us and perish.
Okay, I'll get a intimidation check from you, Sigg.
Who? 11 out of 20.
I'm gonna give advantage. This guy isn't going anywhere, so that's a crit. And we'll see how this plays out. Is that all you'd like to do on your turn, Sigg?
Indeed.
All right, we'll move over to the ruffian, who gets a chance to roll a strength check to see if he can break free. But you can sort of see that he's heard this threat from sort of like he's heard Gil's voice. He's heard the threat from Sigg, and you can just see him kind of relax his arms. He just kind of relaxes, and you can see he's not pushing against it. And he just says, "Oh, we're okay. Yeah, all right, okay. Reginald's given up. All right, okay, I'll give up." And you can see that he's done. We're gonna call initiative over. Battle's done. He's showing no signs of struggling. So what would you guys like to do?
Reginald, you say? Toss your weapons to Sigg's feet there, just to be sure.
You're having a bit of a problem sort of doing anything right now, mate. He says as he's kind of like held up by these vines.
Miraqen? Thoughts?
Miraqen would like to rush forward into the situation and see what havoc her vines had wrought.
Yeah, and as you
very good.
As you get close, you see what's kind of happened to one of the 3 Redbrands. This guy is just blood is still kind of like pouring out from his head. It's slowing down, and he's not looking too good. And the rest of the room is kind of filled with vines, and will be until you until you say so.
My, what a sickening sight. I think I have Sigg to thank for this. I'm not used to doing this kind of awful thing. Sorry. My gosh. Talk to us. Listen to him. I'm sorry.
Are you going to let go of the vines, or what do you want to do? No, so the vines are
But
staying
I
up.
am going to relax back into winter as the intensity of the situation has subsided and slight shame sets in it at the vicious moves I have made.
Okay.
Sigg will prepare a reaction in case the Redbrand moves suddenly.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So sorry. So I might have missed something. You're keeping the vines in the room, Miraqen?
Yes,
Okay.
I shall maintain the hold on the ruffian.
Okay.
However, I do not wish to cause him extra harm.
Yeah. No, he seems to be okay. He's just kind of being held, almost scarecrow-like in the middle of this room.
Could you perhaps release his arms, Miraqen, so that he might relieve himself of his weapons?
Yes, quite. So I shall just wave my my druid's staff a little and just release the fingertips.
Okay. And he's kind of like, oh man, I really placed this. Oh, okay, look, and he just kind of wiggles his fingers, right? Not going to do much like this, am I? Look, I've given up. Either you guys can come in here and grab my weapons, or you can release your little vines and I'll throw them out.
Is he not holding a weapon currently?
He can drop it into the vines. That's pretty much the most he can do with his fingertips freed.
I suggest he does so.
Okay, cool. He drops the vine. He drops the scimitar. Sorry, the short sword out of his hand, and it just kind of like tumbles slowly through the vines and crashes to the ground.
Very good. I think you should listen to my comrades here. Sigg? Gil?
I'm all ears.
We need to know how many of you there are.
Okay. I specifically didn't open up like the little thing that says what the Redbrands know because I figured you guys haven't like questioned anyone ever, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to need it. I'm totally not going to need it.
Not true.
I believe you should check the tapes, Master DM.
We've tried many
So
times.
we questioned someone. He kind of fooled us
Literally
miserably.
every person.
And they're always
Agreed.
like,
We do try.
Fuck you, mate.
we fail miserably, but we
I'd
do
rather
try.
die.
Yeah, we're usually not that good at it, and usually we end up cutting our fingers off or doing damage to ourselves, but we do try.
Okay. And he kind of he's pained to sort of give you any information. And he sort of says, yeah, look, there's probably a good I don't know. Look, I don't know. I've been in this room, right? I know some of the guys gone down to the old tavern, had a few drinks, have a few things to eat, then call it a night in their own little cozy homes. So it's I don't know. Like there's probably there's me and me two. Well, long rest their souls. The two guys at your feet, me. That's three, and then there's probably another. So, look, somewhere between, it's probably like another 10 of us, maybe? I don't know what's been going on here. There's normal, night shift. What time is it anyway? It must be coming on around 8 o'clock. It's probably, I don't know, maybe like normally like a dozen or something, eh? And he doesn't want to shut up. He seems to be stuck in his kind of conversationalist tone.
What is wrong with this fellow? Why are you so calm? We're threatening your life.
He's on crack.
And he just kind of gives Baron at the back just a little wink. You chase the dragon as well, mate, eh? Oh, I see.
I'm rummaging around in my wine barrels here. Look what I found. Found a little wine back here. Cheers to you, mate.
Sigg is going to keep his eyes on the Redbrand and cast his head back just for a moment to call for the Baron. Baron, come here.
Okay. Oh, just pouring this glass. Here we go.
This fellow's conduct is most peculiar. He sees his comrades dead in front of his eyes, and he's not perturbed at all.
Well, if you'll remember the other one, when threatened with death, he just smiled. He was happy to die. Is there any way that I can see if there's... I guess my magic sensing's still going?
Yeah.
10 minutes?
It's still...
Has he got magic on him? Or?
No, there doesn't seem to be any magic on him.
They're just very ballsy.
Mr. Baron.
Ballsy? I'd say psychopathic.
Yeah. Psycho balls. Crazy balls.
Look,
Sigg's going to turn to the...
I'm your only friend here. You need to tell us what we want to know. And I cast friends.
Okay, using action, choose a creature that's not hostile. That's him. In the spell. Okay, cool. All right, so you need to. I get you have to do a charisma check, right? See how, and you get advantage on it, right? So you just want to. What else are you wanting to know from him? What are you trying to get from him?
I'd like to know with some level of confidence that what he's saying, like 10 or so people, is right, and that there's no one else in this room.
Okay. Well, roll your charisma check just to see how good we're doing. And we'll use this for the remainder of the conversation. It's a 12.
I rolled a 12.
Yeah. So could you ask what you're wanting to ask?
Look, we need a little convincing here. It's fairly clear to us that there are more than 3 capes in there. We don't know your numbers. You don't know that we won't kill you, so you should tell us, and we won't.
Look, mate, I've told you all I know, okay? Like, I've been locked in this room, yeah, playing cards with me mates. Now, I don't know if you noticed, they're dead, right? Okay? And don't you think if there was someone else in this room, maybe he would have tried to stop the death from happening, yeah? But here we are, me, in this room, alone, covered in vines. They're itchy, don't like them, okay? And me mates, yeah? I'm trying to be nice, mate. I'm trying to be nice here. They're dead, yeah? So if you want more information, you're going to have to try a little bit harder. I'm giving you everything I know.
Hey, it's possible that they were playing strip poker because one of them's taking their clothes off.
Mr. Baron, I do not know of this game, but I suggest you end this man's life. He is useless.
Hey, I'll just whisper to you guys. Doesn't it seem odd that they're in a room, there's no doors in there? That other room that we went into, there was dust on the floor, so no one goes through there. So, like, I was expecting there to be more places, more rooms in here for an underground complex. Where's the other door?
Agreed. We'll have to search for it.
Do you think I should just kill him?
Well, I just find it strange that he seems to not fear death at all. That in itself is very disturbing.
Exactly.
Is there any way we can extract information from him? I'm not one to suggest torture, but, well...
Okay.
I can't think of anything else.
Mince your words.
I don't want to do it. How else? We've failed at charming him.
Perhaps
we've tried to torture people before and
Lorros
went badly. But...
Lorros, come in here and cut your own finger off.
Perhaps we could ask him these questions first.
And he looks over at Gil and he just says, "Oh man, where am I? Oh, there we go. Ask away, mate. Ask away."
We noticed that there are no... The corridor to the north is... the dust is completely settled. There doesn't appear to be any other way in. Are you saying that... could you tell us how people move to and from this area?
Can you give me another charisma check? I'm going to give you a chance to do this each roll. He's still, since you have casted Friends, it lasts quite a while.
If this is the way he treats friends, my goodness.
All right.
I rolled a 22.
Okay. And he looks at you with a bit of seriousness in his face, and he's like, "Mate, you're looking in the wrong way, mate. The room that you've just come from, think of it like this. Symmetrical, yeah? I'll give you that one for free, eh?" And he just gives you a little wink.
Okay, so
Symmetrical.
over here.
Some sort of hidden area, perhaps?
Yeah.
What was the other question again?
Why doesn't he care about not dying?
Oh, yeah. Can you tell us why none of you or comrades seem to care much about death?
That's a very good question. Look, okay, if you knew who was looking after us, you wouldn't be too worried about the old Deferoni either, would you?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Who's looking after you?
Look, I'm sure you've heard about glass stuff, yeah?
Yes.
And maybe you've seen a few little, skelly boys running around, or maybe some other kind of dead creatures, things that shouldn't have been, coming back for more, yeah?
Yes.
Well, here's your answer, mate. I don't know if I need to spell it out for you, but I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen to me and me two mates dead at your feet, are they just going to come and hunting you down, mate?
You wish to be a skelly boy?
I'll be, as long as I'm eternal, mate, I don't care. And he's just kind of just like, in his seat.
That's a good attitude to have about death. I quite like his attitude.
Perhaps
now
from the Baron's perspective.
Chop his head off and he won't come back.
What's happened to you? What's happened to me mates down there is nothing compared to what is going to happen to you if you keep walking around these places, that's for sure.
Mr. Baron
doesn't seem to mind, does he?
Mr. Baron, end this man's life.
Wait!
Enough of his rattle.
Wait.
What is it, Miraqen?
Gil, can you please ask your new friend if he knows anything about Iano or Ian, that good old boy Ian?
Yes, of course. Do you know anything about that good old boy Ian?
Who?
Iano. Have you come across this name?
No, not that I can. Is that some kind of secret code for is this like your safe word or something, mate?
Oh!
You wish you knew my safe word.
Well, can we ask him about what Glassstaff is like? What he looks like?
Good idea.
Tell us more about this Glassstaff, who I'm sure has his own safe word based on his name.
I need to bring up some information about what he looks
Oh,
like.
vicious mockery, and he's not even here.
Let's have a look. What does he know about what he looks like? Well, he's just like your human buddy over there, yeah? He's kind of like him, but imagine a beautiful beard, beautiful dark long hair. He's a beautiful man. All I know is I do what he says. He's going to look after me for it as long as I need him to, yeah?
You seem quite enamored with Glassstaff.
Mate, when you hear him talk, you'll know why, eh? Because I tell you what, he's going to make your death seem like the sweetest thing you've ever heard.
I need words, to be sure.
You've done a great job of getting some information out of him, Gil.
Right, so you're going to let me go now? What? Like these things are still pretty itchy on my legs and my back and stuff.
Mr. Lorros.
Hearing my name, I'm going to stride into the room. I'm going to push past Baron and gently push past Miraqen so they don't go into the water. And face said Redbrand. Is this man being a pain?
I think we've extracted all we can from him.
Looking at Sigg, knowingly, understanding what this means, I bring up my axe, and I'm going to slice him that way, making sure I take his head off.
Okay, well, give us a roll to hit.
Sure.
To be fair, he did not seem to mind if this was to be the case, so...
Seem to prefer it.
You're welcome? I step back to make sure none of the blood splatters on me.
So
As
roll
he's
an 11.
restrained, do you have advantage?
Yeah, you've got advantage on that. And so you're kind of just slicing down like across. Into whereabouts are you aiming?
So from neck to sort of underarm.
Yeah.
To sort of basically take his head off.
Yeah, and you manage to cut through, but it's not deep enough. It just kind of leaves like this long gash in his side. In his front, and he's just like, hey, look. Oh, he's like, crikey, brother, it's so sore. If you're gonna kill me, mate, get it over with. Don't you know how to use that thing? Jeez.
As soon as he opens his mouth, Sigg will strike.
Okay, yeah, and roll to hit.
19.
Yeah,
nice.
And how are you attacking him?
Sigg will drive his short sword into his face.
Okay, and as your blade comes through, like you've kind of misjudged, like one of the vines are kind of in the way, and it just comes down the side of his cheek, and it opens up his kind of face, and you can see his teeth and jaws sort of through the gash in his face that you've just made, but he's still alive, and he's just like, guys, just get over with. This is cruelty. Oh my god!
I'm gonna put him out of his misery. Oh my god! Had he been hurt before?
I don't know if he had. He hadn't when he
did not take any damage from the vines.
No, it was just the vines, I suppose.
It was the guy that crit failed. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to cast Toll the Dead.
Ooh, all right. Before I'm just gonna. We've got something fancy for the viewers here. I'm gonna.
Should I play at the same time over here?
Yeah, certainly. All right. You do it, and I'll
okay, I'm ready. All right. I don't know if it has any sound. Does it have sound?
It does for the viewers.
Yeah, it does.
Wow,
it's
that
awesome.
was so cool.
It's sick.
Okay.
That's so metal.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That is so cool.
So 1d12.
Oh, wow, man.
Toll the Dead has been the bell has been donged.
You got donged.
Yeah.
A 9. 9
That looked brilliant on the stream.
Give us another roll since you've got advantage on this.
Oh, for damage? All right.
Oh, wait, so wait a second. Is it not roll to hit? Is it just something that hits automatically?
He has to do a Wisdom 13.
Okay. All right. By the way, you haven't switched back your camera from Wisdom 13. Oh.
And does he have disadvantage?
Wait a second. All right.
Just keep rolling until it's fine.
3 roll.
Well, one of them fell off my desk. Come on. That is.
Play it where it lands.
He has been donged. Yeah.
Dong.
Unfortunate.
It's a terrible term.
That's 9 necrotic damage then, I think.
9 necrotic damage. Okay.
I think it's necrotic.
Good luck coming back from that.
Necrotic.
Okay.
Jesus.
You can see, and he's the only one that hears it, isn't that right? So what do the rest of the crew see? You're kind of behind them. Do they see or hear anything from you? Is there a chant or anything vocal that goes with that?
No, well, I think I'll just point my finger at him. My crystal, I've got a crystal. And he will hear the sound of a dolorous bell around him for a moment. And I think he'll just hear just a deafening crunch, crunch, and into him.
Okay, so
it takes away necrotic damage, takes away their energy, their life force.
Right. Okay.
Saps it out of them. So.
Okay. So all the rest of the party can see is that like there's like a little bit of confusion in me, and he's kind of looking around, and every time he looks, there's a little less energy to his and life in his eyes, and he's like looking around, and he just slowly kind of like. You thought he was looking relaxed in that vine before, but somehow he now just kind of like manages to complete his entire body is fully relaxed, and he kind of slips down into the vines and is dead.
We should dismember this man.
Jesus.
We could burn him.
I have a suggestion.
Oh yes.
I suggest we use some of these heavy stones and tie them up and drop them into the cistern.
Well, I believe Brian over here dabbles in necromancy. What would you suggest to prevent him coming back? Will that suffice?
No, I think they would just emerge, possibly as skeletons later on.
If they were weighted down, would they be able to lift them?
Maybe that would slow them down. But it depends how powerful this necromancer is. He could bring them back as fully alive, undead. So I have no idea.
Sigg?
They might not just be skeletons.
I do have some oil. We could pile the carcasses and burn them.
What about the oxygen down here?
Well, I've already made some kindling.
Mr. Baron?
Oh, what about the oxygen down here? We don't want to fill it up with smoke.
Perhaps let's finish searching the place and then we'll deal with the bodies after.
Yeah. Let's just crush their heads. Maybe crush their heads with a stone.
If we remove their heads from their bodies and he reanimate and they become undead, do they need their heads again? Can we not just separate them and they won't find them?
Really, it matters how powerful he is. He can regenerate entire heads if he's powerful enough, I'm sure.
I think it would be fun to take the heads.
I'd take them with you.
Yes. Okay. As a memento.
I think perhaps the alive Redbrands will be more of a threat than these dead ones for the meantime.
Yeah. Yeah, if they come back as skeletons, I mean...
Can I take the
my suggestion is to squash their heads.
Okay. No, I'm good with that.
Lorros, you do that one. I'll do this one. And Sigg jumps.
And can you give me a strength check on that?
So while Sigg is jumping, I'm just going to put my foot above it and literally just stand. So basically put my foot on his head and then stand up full weight onto his head. Should by right just crush it.
I'll get a strength roll from you as well, please, Lorros.
All right.
Sigg, you've come down on the head of the one that was invaded by vines. There's almost nothing inside his head left. So even with the strength of a roll of a 13, his head just kind of pops in like a hollowed watermelon, like just the shell of a hollowed watermelon, and it just there's basically just liquid inside his brain, inside of his skull, and it just squirts out to the side. You've got one headless Redbrand, and with a roll of 15, Lorros has followed suit behind. He's instead this one's still got a full cavity of brain and sinuses and all that kind of stuff, and he's had to put a little more weight into it, and there's a little bit of a pause
for dramatic effect,
and then just pops out to the side as he pushes down with all his weight. You guys have kind of covered this area of the room in blood and brain and.
So I'm used to dissections
on the vines.
But
what was that?
This is I was just saying I'm used to dissections, but this pretty much is giving me pause. I'm just going to have a drink of wine.
Has this distracted Miraqen's concentration enough that the vines are now fading? She seems quite disturbed.
Well, she has gone back to her winter self. So, Miraqen, have you stopped concentrating on these vines, or yeah? All right. So,
oh wow.
What you've sort of, as Lorros's weight comes down on that skull, you hear the pop. You kind of hear somewhat like the door that you entered this room. There's kind of you can hear someone on the sort of scratching or grabbing the door handle, and you can just kind of hear coming from there. You thought.
No.
You really thought.
Thanks, random.
All right, let's jeez. All right. And
Sigg will yell out, "Our nemesis approaches, ready for battle."
And in through the door bursts Our good friend Billy Goblin, but he looks a little different from the last time you saw him. Instead, he's looking a little shorter. And the reason he's looking shorter is that he's got his head underneath, sort of cradled under one arm. So he sort of stops at the neck, and there's nothing on top of his shoulders. And
I
under
recall decapitating him.
he's holding his head.
Okay.
Let's give him an entrance.
I feel like we need like a little jingle and like do Billy Goblin, and he's kicked through the door and he steps in and he yells, "Where is the armored one? You know I'm here for you." And he withdraws his scimitar. So he's got like his head under one arm. He's got a scimitar in the other. And I will get once I just delete everybody's rolls from the last one, I will get everybody to give me an initiative roll, please.
Click on your tokens, everyone.
Click on the tokens.
Just reminding. I roll a 2. Yeah. I'm just going to sit back
I have rolled a 5. No one's that keen to engage.
Yeah.
No one wants...
We've beaten this guy twice already. Come on.
Fittingly,
I rolled an
it's like
8.
Sig has led the initiative. Very
All
good.
right.
That's
sick.
quite apt. That's pretty good. So I just want to thank Random Origins yet again for bringing Mr. Goblin, I like to call him Mr. Goblin, into this world. It's amazing. So we'll go to the top of the order. Sigg, you've just heard from behind you the call from Billy Goblin. You recognize the voice straight away, and you turn to see him holding a short sword, a scimitar in one hand, and his head underneath the other.
So Sigg recognizes his foe at the sound of his voice and immediately travels as fast as he can using the correct tool and roll 20, nimbly maneuvering his way past his friend Gil to the closest he can be to Billy Goblin. As he reaches the limit of his stride, he whips out his bow, which is a stolen short bow from the goblins he first encountered. Maybe it's Billy's. We'll see. And he looses a bow arrow straight into his chest.
Cool. Give me a roll to hit. All right.
17 to hit.
Yeah, and so that's definitely a hit.
Can I use my Bardic Inspiration if that's still active from last week?
That lasts an hour, is that right, Gil?
10 minutes, I believe.
10 minutes. No, unfortunately, the talking to the Redbrand and the popping of the Redbrand's heads has indeed cut into your time there.
Indeed.
All right, so that's 4 damage. Is that right?
Yes.
4 damage? Yeah. Whereabouts were you aiming for poor Billy?
The center of the chest.
Center of the chest. It does hit, but I don't know. He seems a little stronger in that area, and while it clearly looks like it's given him a little bit of pain, it kind of bounces back off onto the ground, and he sort of looks back at you and says, "You're gonna have to do better than that this time, yes?"
As a bonus action, Sigg will call out, "You will be well practiced in death, foul one."
I don't have a witty comeback for him this time. Damn it! I'm gonna wake up at like 3 a.m. and go, it's too late. It is Billy Goblin's turn, and he kind of leaps over the Baron, leaps right over the top of the Baron.
Whoa.
And runs into the looking eye to eye with Sigg, and he just slashes with his scimitar across. Where is he? Across Sigg's front. And he's rolled a 12. Yeah, that's nothing. That's not. I already know that's nothing. It scratches across Sigg's shield as he manages to parry it away. And the goblin looks up at him and says, you've gotten a bit quicker than last time. Billy will make sure you pay.
I'll pay death in kind.
And it's Gil's turn.
It all started with a goblin on the floor. Sigg felt a hatred he had never felt before. And so he'll make him pay each and every day until that Billy Goblin is no more.
Yes, that's fantastic.
And I cast Bardic Inspiration
Perfect.
on the Sigg.
Okay, great.
And then I turn to Billy Goblin and I say, Billy, why are you hobbling? And I hope he considers himself viciously mocked.
Really?
Well,
What are you hobbling?
A hobbling goblin?
Hobbling
Come
goblin?
on.
and it's a wisdom check, isn't it? All right, you managed to cut him deep with those cryptic words. 2 damage. Okay, that's all right.
2 psychic damage.
2 psychic damage. And he's like, I think the fact that it rhymes with goblin is what's really doing my head in. And he's
It's no fun if I explain the joke of Billy.
yeah. And it moves over to Miraqen.
A very frightening sequence of events. My goodness. Well, I should like to do something I would like to ask to make sure it's allowed, but I believe I can use dual wielding as a bonus action.
Yeah, so if you attack with a light weapon like a dagger, you can attack twice, as long as you've got 2 daggers, right? Isn't that
Would I be able to attack with both a dagger and a scimitar?
I'm not sure if a scimitar is classified as a light weapon. Let's have a look. Something will tell me. Scimitar just says type weapon.
What's the
It's a
damage?
weapon type of
Is that
weapon. Very
1d6?
good.
A scimitar is light.
It is light. Okay, cool.
Oh,
All
very
right,
well.
we'll go with yes then. So, what you've rolled 3 times?
We rolled 3, so you 3
sorry,
attacks?
I didn't
6
realize
times.
I was rolling thrice.
We'll
I shall
take-
call out,
We'll take your first scimitar roll, but give us a dagger roll as well.
and with that I shall call
3
out, you
dagger
stay
rolls.
away from Sigg.
Okay, so with a roll of 10 with your scimitar, and with a roll of a 13 with your dagger, the goblin kind of just like hot steps it out of the way of both of your attacks, and his focus has been sort of switched over to you, and he kind of just says, "Oh, you're a fiery one, aren't you? Oh, looks like Billy's got new people to look after this time, doesn't he?"
That went poorly.
Yeah. Baron, it's your turn. You've just been leaped over. You've been
Yeah,
leapt.
that was
You've
pretty
been leapt,
fancy.
son.
Is that new terminology that I'm not up with?
All the kids are saying it. I don't know.
You got leapt.
You've been
You've been
leapt. You've been leapt. It's kind of like your that kind of game, that leapfrog game. You've been leapt.
Yeah, you've been leapt, son.
Yeah.
Everyone
All day.
You got leapt on.
leapt,
Okay.
son.
Well, I'm gonna put my shirt, my wine, under my shirt, and I'm gonna reach into my pocket and pull out some powder. It's an innocuous powder, and as I blow it straight at Billy's armpit head,
Oh.
I'm casting poison spray. So he's gonna have to do a
Ooh.
Constitution saving throw of 13 to beat them.
Oh, he failed. You guys are
Oh,
doing some damage to poor Billy Goblin.
because his head was so close.
Yeah.
I hope that spray of poison is very accurate and only centered on his head.
It is. So 4 damage.
Okay, great. He's just kind of. Crap! What was this?
You might want to get that cough checked, Regan.
That's like,
really
that was my acting cough.
Very convincing.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to bring my wine back out from underneath my shirt.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. Your wine has been protected. It's good.
And I'm going to walk away, and that's all.
Okay. Lorros, over to you.
I'm a bit frustrated. Every time some enemy turns up, I'm in the other room. It's happened 3 times.
Yeah.
Jumping on
Every
heads.
time I turn my back, it's like enemy here. They're in the other room. It's like, what's going on here? I'm supposed to be the dude that's killing people.
He's just busy in the other room, stomping on his like he's trying to make wine.
Like an absolute monster. Yeah.
But I'm not
enjoying this.
Come on.
I'm not enjoying this. Now let me slowly pop that guy's head.
I must admit, I did enjoy popping the guy's head.
There we
That was
go.
kind of satisfying.
There we go.
That was satisfying. But hey, you pop a guy's head like popping a grape, of course it's satisfying.
It was like bubble wrap.
So what do you
Once you
there's
pop,
nothing-
you can't stop.
That's right. Once you pop, you can't stop. You know, you've done one, you've got to do them all. Anyway, hearing the commotion in the other room, Laura, and hearing what sounds to be a fairly familiar voice,
Yeah.
I'm just going to charge, screaming all murder. I'm going to barge past Gil and Miraqen and face up to said goblin. And I'm going to do what I do to all goblins, and I'm going to chop them in half.
Now what are you
Because
aiming
that is
for?
what goblins require.
Are you aiming for the head?
I've chopped off his head previously.
Well, that was Sigg.
I'm going-
Sigg
That was
decapitated.
his head is here. I'm going through the
You
middle.
go
So I want.
down his
I'm
neck.
cleaving. I'm going straight through whatever. I want him literally like in two.
Yeah, great. Okay, roll to hit.
And twain.
All right, here we go. Yeah, in twain. That is correct.
Cleft
I
away.
love that word. Cleft away. Here we go.
Cleave away.
I roll 11. Fuck.
Aww.
That's awful.
Yeah, that kind of just like misses down. Right, like it was perfectly aligned, but you just gauged the distance wrong, and it just kind of like swipes down in front of Billy Goblin, giving him just like a fresh like like a gust of wind against him. He's like,
No.
It's a cool breeze. Thank you very much. Anything else from you, Lorros?
I'm just gonna stare at him. Disappointed in myself and really fucked off.
Yeah, you're a little defeated by him. I feel.
He moved. I want to hurt him.
My camera's totally not in the right place and it's annoying me. Okay, Sigg, we're back at the top of the order. Back to you.
So Sigg is looking upon his foe in disgust, and he goes to swipe his short sword, this time hacking onto the shoulder, which is carrying the arm, in an effort to lop it off.
Ooh.
And then as he attacks, he's going to quickly attack again, kicking his action surge ability for a double attack.
Okay.
Also using bardic inspiration as rhythm throws through his body in a rhythmical choppy chop fashion.
Okay, well, I mean, give us 2 rolls to hit. We'll do both at the same time, yeah?
Sigg rolls 20
All right. Well,
and an 8.
well, your first attack hits, but your second swipe back across him fails. But it fails because he's dropping to the ground. What were you wanting that first swipe to do to him?
So with the first swipe, he wanted to sever the arm at the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then if it does so, as a bonus action, he'll kick the head away with a sweet stylish boot move.
Okay, so all in one sweet, really amazing moment, Sigg. Your blade sort of cuts through his arm, and it sort of lets go of the head, and the head starts to drop, but the hand sort of drops with it, and the whole arm drops with it. And as the hand and arm hit the ground, it sort of lobs the head back up a little bit as your foot follows through it. So it's like it's served up like a drop kick for you. and you just boot.
Sigg scores when he wants.
Yeah, and
Love
that boot and that kick sends the head sort of flying into the opposing wall. And Billy Goblin is dead once again.
Third time.
So now,
One more for the popping, Lorros.
I believe it is splattered against the wall, so...
I didn't say splattered, I just said it had hit the wall.
Oh, okay, I'll splatter it then.
I mean, I don't know.
I've started. It's a new thing. It's a new thing. I have to do it, right? And Miraqen said I could, so...
Yeah.
I'm not one to disappoint.
I shall focus on Sigg instead. You've saved me again.
It was a team effort, Miraqen.
Must be the necromancer's influence.
I fear that our movement through the space has been slower than perhaps we should be. If we're getting repetitively assaulted by these fiends, we must search and kill in quickness.
True. We have been here for a while, and at some point those other people are going to come back from the bar. Is there any way that I can bar this door?
I mean, you've got a room full of barrels and stuff sort of
dead
at
bodies.
your disposal.
There's no heads. There's no way that I can slide. There's nothing that you can put a piece of wood through. Or
no, there's a lock
like
on. There's a lock on the door, but obviously you guys don't have a key.
No.
But I mean, like you could definitely. The door opens up into the room, so you'd absolutely be able to block it with things.
Shall we quickly do that?
Can we check the bodies
Yeah, absolutely.
of Reginald and his friends to see if they have a key on them?
Yeah, certainly.
Good thinking.
So on the first one you search, it looks like they've each got little belt pouches that's holding something. So the first one sort of in front of the one that's had its head popped, the only one with a head basically, has 16 silver pieces and 7 gold pieces in his little pouch. The one that was absolutely violated by vines has in his pouch as 12 silver pieces and 5 gold pieces, and the third in the room that Lorros has popped his head, the one that was kind of calm through most of that situation, he's got 3 gold pieces and 2 small garnets, little nice valuable stones in his pouch, and a small little packet of what looks like red sand.
Red sand.
But that's all you find.
Does anybody recognize this red sand?
I'd say.
Can I have a look at it? Or?
Yeah. Why don't you give me a history check, Byrem?
What are we going to? Okay. Here we go. Found the button. 18.
Oh right, yeah. So Byrem knows this powder all too well. He's heard tale of it, but he's never actually come across it before. And this is known as Traveler's Dust.
Does it smell good?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to get high, this is the way to do it in Faerun. That's for sure.
Right.
I'll bring up some information about it just so you can probably hear me.
It's moon sugar.
It is indeed.
So you know what this is, Baron?
So,
yes,
I mean,
it
Brian.
is.
I'm so sorry. I got your name wrong.
Brian, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you know that it's an incredibly addictive drug. It's just a single grain of the drug placed into your eye and letting it dissolve will get you high, basically. It does, depending on your use of it, will give you sort of trembling hands, maybe sometimes a little bit of slurred speech. But the most telling sign that you're a user is that the eye you've placed it onto goes blood red.
Right.
Is it wise to let Byrem have this?
It's very dangerous
given his
stuff.
The stories
I better hold on to it.
The stories you know about this is that, it's the people that would use this were said to be walking the Crimson Road. Hence the name Traveler's Dust.
Traveler's Dust.
Yeah.
So what sort of danger is this, Brian?
Well, it's it can be poisonous if not treated carefully. But I think in the right hands it can do some good. I'll look after it for now.
And Sigg,
you know what?
sorry, Sigg. What you find on Billy Goblin is yet again just another health potion.
As Sigg inspects Billy's body, he will get his knife and cut off one of his fingers and put it in his pocket.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. I'm writing that one down.
And do they have any useful weapons on them we could avail ourselves of?
They each just had your typical Redbrand short sword with their little, it's kind of like a red sort of pommel on each one. There's nothing sort of new about these.
Right.
Yeah.
Something has occurred to me, Brian. You seem to have a fondness for necromancy. Now, how can we trust that you will not admire this necromancer's work so that you wish to become an acolyte of his? Are you on our side?
Well, yeah, of course I'm on your side.
That didn't sound convincing.
Well, think of it this way: like we both study necromancy, but I am moved by people's political leanings, and it seems to me that although this place is supposed to be a new type of government, that's why I came here. It's just the same old type of government where the strong people are crushing the weak and squeezing them for all their money. So no, I'm not enamored by this guy at all.
This comforts me greatly. Thank you.
But I could learn some tricks.
I would vouch for the Baron. He did not need to come on this journey with us, but he has been nothing but of assistance to the group, I feel.
I agree. I think you are a good man, Brian.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Shall we proceed?
If we're all talking about the Baron, I'll have to mention that he has currently 12 ticks in my book, so that's pretty good.
Ooh,
that is many.
More than I thought.
Should we do something with this Billy's body? Perhaps this is the one that we want to weigh to the bottom of the cistern.
Can we burn it?
If anyone comes back to life, it's Billy, isn't it?
I think we should burn his body.
He seems to be coming back to life with full capability. That is the most troubling.
But
a skelly boy can be dealt with.
He still has his body parts, though. So he was still carrying around his head, and it was hacked off. If we all carried around a piece of Billy's body...
Would he not just come back in separate parts?
He could come back as a torso if we had all his arms and legs.
Can we not weigh his head down at the bottom of the cistern, burn his legs, and then maybe chop his torso into 3 pieces?
Yeah,
that would surely make it difficult to reanimate.
Yes.
I worry we do not have time for this elaborate procedure.
Yes, it's sounding very time-consuming.
Put a stone in his mouth, chuck it at the bottom of the cistern, set his body alight or his legs alight, and I can hack his body up.
All right. Well, we do need to find an exit, so maybe someone can hack away while we do that.
Yeah.
There was doors in the other room.
Let's divvy up some work here. So, Lorros, I think you're the one to handle Billy. How about someone blocks this, or maybe a couple of people block this door, just in case people come back quickly, and I will investigate over here where we were hinted at that there would be a secret door.
Okay, can you give me a perception check then?
Okay, not investigation.
Oh, give me an investigation. Sorry, yeah, let's do investigation.
You're lovely. A 23.
Okay, with a 23, there's nothing unique about this area of the room. There's no there doesn't you can get in there. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of secret nooks or doors or anything really. It's just a wall.
Gosh. Were we tricked? Can I check up here? Maybe is that only the area that you mean?
Yeah, like you can see that in basically, let's just say you've done this 3x3 block of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you've checked all down this wall here. You've checked this wall as well as the wall down 10 foot down, and there's no sign of any sort of door in that area.
Well, I'll continue over here then. I'll just let everyone know that there's no door there. No door here.
Sigg will search to the north in the dusty corridor.
Okay, cool. So as you walk through, you kind of notice again the only footprints in the dust you can see were your own from earlier, and Gil's. There doesn't seem to be anything else of note. However, stop right there. As you walk onto this section of the flooring, I'm gonna need to get a wisdom check. Sorry, a perception check.
An 8.
Okay, with an 8, you notice a little too late that the place you've just stood on creaks, and
Someone played a trap card.
no, the game played a trap card. And before you notice, there's the floor beneath you just sort of opens up. Can you give me an acrobatics check, just to see?
Oh dear.
A 7.
Oh.
Unfortunately, with a 7, the weight of your armor kind of just pulls you down. And as this kind of trapdoor beneath you opens, you fall a good 20 foot down into just like into a flat pit. There's no spikes or anything. There's just a bit of concussion there as you do take 2d6 damage. Do you want me to roll your damage, Sigg?
Just appeared.
Yeah, indeed, you roll it. I'm feeling pretty bad right now.
All right, so it's just 6 damage, 6 falling damage there. But you are 20 foot down, and that's no one's really. I don't know. Can I get a perception check from people just to see if they've heard?
Was there a sound?
Sigg will cry out like a little girl as he falls.
Armor weighing that much, falling 20 feet would make a fairly big clattering.
Yeah, but you guys are all working to move barrels and cutting up bodies and searching.
What are we rolling? Perception, yeah?
And you guys have all rolled terrible.
I have rolled a paltry 9.
Nah.
I got a 4.
Perception, right?
Let's hope Lorros hears something.
Lorros is involved in what he
Mr.
does.
Lorros.
I rolled a 4.
Okay.
Oh!
So
I'm focused on chopping up Billy Goblin here.
you guys have all like focusing hard on what you're doing.
Whistling while I work. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that, but we'll let you guys continue with what you're doing for now. We'll go back to Sigg shortly.
I would like to try to secure this door. I have an idea.
Okay.
I'd like some help.
I can help.
Do you know how to rig a trap?
I have had some experience with traps surviving in the wilderness.
I have some oil and I have a lamp, and I suggest we rig it so that the oil will fall onto the flame of the lamp should anybody try to enter.
That sounds very dangerous indeed, but worth a try.
Cool. Can you both give me a survival? Can you both give me a survival check there?
I shall roll for survival.
Is this like the bucket of water trick that you put on top of the door?
Yes.
Bucket of water track, but taken up a notch.
It's like the chalk eraser trick.
Nice.
I have rolled terribly yet again. A 6.
You guys have just got like a streak of terrible rolls. I'm going to be nice to you guys and just say that adds up to 13.
What is that?
Which is teamwork. John didn't try by himself. He did specifically ask for help, so it's a joint effort. And
2 hits are better than 1.
they've put together a rudimentary trap. They're not 100% sure how good it's going to go, but it is set up.
I should like to draw the attention of everyone in the room and point out we've set up a trap that works with fire, so just be aware. Fire over here if you do this over here.
Yeah. Baron, can I get one more investigation roll from you as well?
Sure.
Where's Sigg? He should like to put this in his book, I imagine.
I thought he would be involved in the oiling.
Hold on.
Yes, we purchased a lot of oil. We could have used some of that.
Seems like a Sigg thing to do, getting oiled.
Yes, where is he?
Hold on.
Yeah,
I got
I
a
don't know.
14.
Let's have a quick look here. Sorry, I'm just having a look at something. All right, so you investigate that wall as well, and you're just not finding anything. You're really scouring. This is for that whole kind of area, across this wall and up this wall, and you just haven't found anything. You've looked and you've looked, but nothing seems to be standing out. Strangely enough, like you feel like it's a little less dusty in this area, but you can't find a thing.
I think I'll just keep searching.
Okay.
Even around here. But yeah.
Okay.
Because cool. I've been given a clue. I might have been tricked, but
okay.
I'm going to keep going until I
come back.
Really am.
By this point, you guys have noticed Sigg's missing, and you do recall that there was a sort of a metal clangy sort of noise that maybe wasn't anything to do with cutting up buoy or sticking up barrels and setting up a trap.
Sigg. Sigg.
Sigg wonders what's around himself.
There's nothing down there. There's like one skeleton down there and some scratch marks on the wall near him that obviously whoever that was had tried to get up, but other than that, there's nothing.
Sigg's gonna yell out, "Crap! Help! Help!"
Sigg, where are you?
All right,
so be careful where you stand. Shit.
Gil, you can see in front of you just like a 2x2 sort of I guess a 10 foot by 10 foot hole in the corridor in front of you. You can see kind of up against the north and south sides of the wall, like a few inches of where I guess you could make your way around if you wanted, if you tried hard enough. Like the hole doesn't go right to the wall.
I see. Is it? Wait, could you draw it out?
Oh yeah, I can draw that for you.
I shall follow Gil. Sigg, what happened? Sigg!
Bastards trapped me with their floor moves. Are you guys okay? Be careful up there.
We're fine. From this vantage point, can I see Sigg?
Yeah. From the edge of the pit, you can look down and see Sigg. He seems to be he's at the bottom of this 20-foot sort of drop.
20 foot.
I turn to Miraqen and I say, "Do you have anything that could get him up? I'm afraid my soap and sealing wax is not useful here."
Yes. Well, I do have some rope. Surely that
rope is
should help.
a great idea. I should carry some of that around.
Yes. Yes, let's throw down the rope and see if... Sigg, we've got some rope!
Throw it down.
She throws the rope down to him and says, "Gil, grab on to the rope, that is."
I will try.
This is going to be hilarious. The pair of you pulling up a fully weighted man wearing plate armor. This is going to be awesome.
Perhaps we should, I don't know. Do we have anyone large in our company that could help?
He's chopping up a goblin right now, so...
Okay, great. I mean, yep, so if you guys are wanting to try and pull Sigg up, we could get a combined...
we can try.
Combined strength roll between you two.
Would you say it's just athletic?
This is strength. Like this is nothing but brute strength trying to pull Sigg up out of this hole.
I see.
Unfortunate.
Oh, Joe,
okay.
Oops, I rolled twice.
That's right. With that combined roll, 15 and a 19, you guys managed to get Sigg up out of that hole. Pretty simply.
As we do, I high five Miraqen.
Nice.
And we'll give Byrem one more investigation roll.
Oh, okay.
And this is going to count for the entirety of this room.
Oh, okay. 15.
That is just enough. That is just enough. What you notice is over here you've noticed now that there was a clearing of dust. You can sort of make footprints out a little bit more that are going towards this spot on the wall. You kind of start pushing and finding where the best knock on it's a little more hollow than anywhere else. And as you push, you open up a sort of entranceway into what looks like a hallway.
How is Sigg doing?
Well, Sigg lost 6 HP. So how's Sigg doing?
Oh, not as young as I used to be. Shit. Oh, it's pretty not great. I gotta admit, I did find a health potion on that goblin fiend, and I'm pretty tempted to use it unless anyone else is in dire need of it. That would be super.
Not I.
I prefer to ration such things, but if you feel you need it, go ahead.
Your wise words cut deep, Miraqen. I understand.
Drink the potion. Drink the potion. Drink the potion.
If I could hear a Lorros, he would probably be telling me to drink the potion.
Restraint is a war scholar's greatest skill.
You got me in that one, Miraqen.
What is she? Like the little angel sitting on your shoulder?
I will retain the health potion, but I will have it at the top part of the pouch in my hip. Whether I need it, it'll be ready.
So what you guys can see now, either side, the north and south side of this pit, there is enough walking space on each side. So you can kind of see that if you chose to go towards that door, you would absolutely make it to the door.
I'm just going to say, Psst, Lorros, tell the others I found a secret passage.
Actually, let's go to Lorros. What have you done to Billy?
Please.
Okay, so
Oh no.
In all this time, I've had plenty of time to play with Billy. I've collected his head from the wall as to where it landed. I've stuffed a rock that I found by the cistern into his head, and I've chucked it at the bottom of the cistern, so it's gone down. I proceeded to hack him limb from limb, so his arms are thrown and strewn across all parts of the room. And just for the fun of it, on top of these barrels here, I've placed separate parts of his body. So his torso's been chopped into 3, and I've placed it on individual barrels.
Okay.
Well, in the barrels, if I could open the lids.
Just for the fun
I'd
of
quite
it.
happily plate them in the barrels, just for the fun of it.
He took no pleasure in the task, but he did get creative.
Absolutely not. It was gruesome, but I thought I'd be creative.
But he did
There
it
was
for
no
fun of
pleasure
it.
taken. It.
All right. Looks like Gil's drunk his invisible potion again. Oh, no, there he is. Okay.
I suggest we convene in the center of the room to discuss.
Does
not.
this what is it, like a passageway? Does it seem like it's well traveled?
Yeah.
It's not dusty or
No. Look, you can see that it's been used a decent amount.
okay. I'm just going to tell everybody I found a secret passageway, and it seems like it's well traveled. And it's probably the way that they make their way in and out of the filthy cavern.
I think we should go that way. We should follow them and hack them down as we find them.
Agreed. Mr. Lorros, would you like to lead?
Is the path lit, Byrem?
It's Brian.
Byrem. I'm
always impressed when you know my middle names.
It's written across the front of your hat, isn't it?
It's on the inseam.
I don't know what you're referring by that.
I don't know what that means either, but it's on my underpants.
Yeah.
I have a spear torch, Mr. Lorros, if you need one.
Sure. In fact, I'd rather if the torch was behind me and so I was lit.
You're casting a big shadow.
Cast a massive shadow, but I can still see forward. It's more imposing that way.
You can't see
I
if you're
suggest
casting a shadow.
There's light. The light surrounds me, right?
Not how that works.
That's how I work.
We have discovered a trap in the other corridor, so please proceed carefully.
I think that they have made this a secret place and they walk up and down here all the time. So hopefully they haven't trapped it. It's possible they have, but
Let's go this way.
Indeed.
Okay, well,
I will take rear guard position.
just in case you go first.
I will proceed ahead of dear Brian.
Thank you.
Gil, where are you in this this troop of adventurers?
How wide is that pathway?
5 foot.
Okay.
Built by children for children.
Yeah, built by children for children.
In the middle.
Oh, I'm so sick of imperial measurements.
Is it
I don't know how
talking
wide a
or
foot is. A foot is in meters. I don't know.
Is it like 2.1?
It's like 90 centimeters or something like that.
Half a
wait,
hippopotamus, right?
No, a foot is like 12 inches, which is one
It's
ruler. So
1
30
foot is 30 centimeters, yes.
Yeah, a foot is
It's
30
one-
centimeters.
So therefore we have no
1D
choice
hex.
but we need to go a single file.
It's 150 centimeters. Yeah. You'll have to go single file.
I'm probably wider than most of you, so I'm probably touching my shoulders against the walls. But
Probably
It's fine.
dusting the walls. As you know.
dusting the walls off, you know.
Okay, cool. So you guys let me know where you guys are going, and I'll slowly make things available to you as you get there.
Well, we're now all into the corridor.
Cool. So
Here
this,
we go.
This corridor is it's lit pretty well. You can see that it was clearly used for a lot of thoroughfare. But as you sort of get closer to where you're going, you can sort of the smell of, I don't know, it's just kind of like a rotten smell. You can just kind of notice it in the air.
Pleasant.
Can't be as bad as those popped heads back then.
They'll make their own odor when they're finished, I'm sure. Oh, wow.
What do you see, Lorros?
I see what looks to be a cave of some sort, but I'm not sure. There looks to be a bridge up ahead.
Cool.
I'm going to go to about there and poke my head around to
All
sort
right.
of see what's going on.
Let's reveal where you guys are at right now.
Whoa!
Ooh.
that was
There's
a good reaction. Woo-hoo!
I like that.
Woo!
So there's no one in this room at all.
Not that you can see. There's a cold. You can feel the. Actually, you can't feel it. You would have felt a cold breeze if it wasn't for the fact that you can see stacks of sort of like wood and barrels. What looks like just open, empty chests, kind of just blocking what looks to be like an entrance. So I'm just gonna like.
We're looking
draw
here.
this. This is.
Oh no, there. Right.
This is completely blocked off.
Okay.
And you can only imagine this was what was stopping you from entering in earlier. You know, you got the tunnel that led in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just gonna step out to here and let the others come past.
Yeah. As you sort of step out, the smell of that rotten smell kind of sinks in a bit more, and you all recognize it as just like the smell of death, of like decaying flesh.
Smells like dead goblin.
Yeah. There's a nice big crevasse that divides the cavern, and it's flanked by two rough stone columns that support this 20-foot high ceiling. So it's a little bit high. It's a bit more roomy in this area than it was in the other parts of the sort of cellar that you've been through. And there's two arched wooden bridges that span across that chasm.
So it seems like a natural cave rather than a castle. Or...
Yeah. This is. It looks to be like a natural cave.
Yeah. Man, stinky.
Miraqen, you can kind of just. There's like this weird feeling in the back of your mind, and it slowly kind of solidifies itself more and more. Can I get? Sorry, I just gotta
A witness.
Can I get a witness? Can I get a check against the? Can I get a deception check, please, from you?
Deception.
Yeah,
Deception.
a deception check.
My goodness. I have rolled a 9.
All right, with a roll of 9, the kind of feeling that you get in the back of your head, and no one else is aware this is going on, but the whispering, there's like a whisper that sort of like solidifies itself more, and it turns into a voice that you can hear just in the back of your head, and it's saying, why are you guys here?
Does anyone hear that?
What do you mean, Miraqen?
This crying. The man. Where is he?
And again, you just hear like a.
No one?
Are you here? Are you here to feed me? Are you my food?
No one's hearing that?
Your ears must work better than us. Which direction is it coming from, Miraqen?
I don't know. It's scary. It's talking about food.
If only we had some cheese.
Is it loud? Is it a human voice?
I don't know. What do I do? It stopped. Some kind of magic. Brian, can you detect anything?
I'm going to start casting Detect Magic. It's going to take 10 minutes, so you just go about your business.
It's no help.
Mr. Lorros, let's find it. It might be that good old mate Ian that we heard so much about.
The good old boys.
Where is the voice coming from, Miraqen?
I don't know. It stopped.
And
So
you feel that sort of numb kind of feeling at the back of your brain yet again. And the voice seems to be clawing into your mind a little bit. And it just says, you were cast out like me. You're gonna be really delicious.
So, something wants to eat us? Do you see anything? You're just looking around wildly, trying to spot what could be making these horrific noises. Can I see anything? Can I perceive anything?
Give me a perception check.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
24.
Natural 20.
Okay.
20.
All right. That's a really, really important roll.
Panic has amplified my abilities.
Okay, so you kind of look around the room. You sort of start to the north, and as you kind of look towards this pillar, something doesn't seem right, but you don't see anything. And it's not until you kind of look away again that in your peripheral vision over towards that pillar, something kind of, you notice there's a creature of some sort. But it's, at the moment, you're only kind of seeing it in your peripheral vision.
I call out to the others, the pillar! There's something there.
Okay, and hearing that you've sort of pointed out, it's a rather ghastly looking creature has appeared, and he just quickly kind of scuttles. Where are we? Quickly sort of scuttles back behind the pillar and out of sight. He's not within your sight right now.
Lorros has an action he wishes to take.
I just have a simple question for the DM.
Yes.
Would you recommend we question this creature?
That's not up to me. That is up to you guys, not me.
It was purely for the comedic sake. But
I recommend that you role play what Lorros would do.
They would not
just
enjoy
suggesting,
this.
given the earlier harassment for not questioning said potential enemies, that it might be worthwhile checking that we, what you would recommend.
I can't recommend a thing here. There is no.
That's okay.
There's no wrong option.
Okay.
I'm busily. Has everyone seen it?
Did anyone else see that?
At the moment, only you have seen it.
There's something there.
What are you pointing at, Miraqen? It's a shadow. It's a shadow.
He was in my head.
No, clearly.
I'm gonna run towards it.
I
Follow
see.
me.
I'm going to look over in that direction.
Okay, so as you run recklessly across that bridge, the bridge starts creaking and the wood starts snapping. Can I get,
Oh God.
so can I get a dex check from you, please?
I have rolled twice again. I've only rolled a 13.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that bridge breaks under the weight of you as you run across it, and you find yourself falling down.
You're calling me fat?
Who had all the pies?
You can tell as you fell that it was basically rigged to fall.
It'd be so great if you.
That's a good save there, Regan. That's a really good save.
Do you think I'm fire?
Fuck your bridge.
And you fall the 20-foot down.
Another 20-foot drop.
20-foot drop down into the crevasse below, taking 2d6 damage.
Sorry, but not even Lorros can save you from that.
Is how did Sigg only take 6 damage from 2d6?
You got a 1 and
Two
a 5.
1 and 5, 2 and a 4, 3 and a 3.
Right. I was
There's so many options.
Yeah.
D6.
Ooh, you
I've
land
taken
like,
10.
Oh, ouch! That's painful.
you land you land awkwardly, and do some decent damage.
Do
and so
you ever?
you've kind of landed prone in just a bunch of rubble.
You are rubble. Like, you are literally rubble. That was a bridge. That was a fall.
That's so deep.
Sigg will call out, Lorros, grab her, quick.
I can't reach 20 foot. It's okay when it's a reaction and I roll a nat 20, but I'm sorry, but she's falling after running away.
I was busy
5 feet
scribbling
from
my
her.
ritual. I stopped in my trap. The fuck? Just ran and then fell down a hole.
Yeah.
Indeed. I'm just screaming and wailing, get them! Ah!
We're still not sure what you're saying or telling us to get either. My ankle, my arm, my ribs, my back, my leg.
Miraqen was pointing at something, right? Can we try and see where she's pointing at?
She was pointing to behind this pillar.
She was pointing here.
Can I?
Miraqen, just so you're aware, it seems to be like extra cold down in this sort of the crevasse that you've fallen into. Sort of almost unnaturally cold.
That's good. Rest,
rest.
Compression, elevation.
Wouldn't she enjoy the cold given she's in a winter mode right now? I don't know.
What you've sort of landed next to though, it doesn't look like it's fallen from off the bridge, but kind of maybe 10 foot to the north of you is a person that's looking kind of, it's like half eaten. And you notice that he's wearing what looks like a woodworker's kind of apron. And you remember the story of the woodworker from Phandelver.
Oh yeah, the woodworker that we're missing.
He was, you remember that he was killed by the Redbrands and dragged off. And you can only assume that the body lying sort of 5-10 feet out of reach is the body that man.
The horror.
Quick, we must get her out.
No! Get the beast! There's a beast!
Can I also just get a perception check from you as well, Miraqen?
Yes. This time I shall only click it once.
Cool.
I have rolled a 16.
Cool. With a 16, you can see sort of past the body. You look past towards sort of further down the crevice, and you can see that underneath the other bridge there seems to be some sort of like chest of some sort. Sort of like it looks like it was purposefully sort of tucked out of way.
Helpful choices.
The least of my worries.
Yeah.
I'm going to die down here.
Sigg will call to the Baron. Baron, can you see her down there?
Good question.
Is she okay?
Yeah, you can see she's 20 foot down. You can see the sort of the sides of the chasm are sort of like it's kind of, it's not a heavy angled. It would be probably quite easy to climb up out of this crevasse. It's just the fact that it's a big climb, not a steep climb. So
I'm just going to call back. It looks like she took a bad fall. Are you okay, Miraqen?
No, I'm not fine. There's a beast behind the pillar. Get him.
Okay, I'm going to look at the pillar.
He's in my head.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you give me a can you give me a perception check, Baron?
Okay. I got a 12.
Cool. This creature isn't in its kind of ethereal form anymore. Ever since Miraqen rushed for it, and what you can see is just like the sides of this kind of fleshy, almost, it looks kind of bipedal, but you can just see the side of it. It's bony, these bony arms there's like a bony arm with claws sticking out from around one of the pillars. Can you give me a deception check as well?
Deception. Okay. I got a 21.
Cool. You sort of feel like a little numb sort of sensation in the back of your mind as well. But as soon as you feel it, it sort of dissipates.
Oh.
You've
okay.
pushed. You managed to sort of concentrate and push that out. But what we'll do is we'll take a 5-minute break here. And
I'm just going to yell out, "Get out of my mind!" You've seen Dune? It's a good movie.
I need to see that. I haven't seen it.
Sigg will wiggle forward between his comrades and call down to Miraqen. Miraqen, are you okay?
No, there's a monster up there.
I'm going to put my hand on Sigg's shoulder and whisper and point over there behind the pillar. A fleshy tube.
Point his eyes over towards the pillar with the enhanced shoulder tap from his friend the Baron.
Yeah, can I get a deception roll from you, please?
Indeed. Sigg rolls a 16 for deception.
All right, you feel a bit of like a numbness in the back of your mind now, and there's a slight whisper that's sort of repeating in the back of your head, and soon enough it sort of clarifies a bit more, and you can just hear, so your people taste pretty good to goblins.
There's the foulest of creatures within this cabin. Be on your guard, everyone. Lorros, take to the north.
You'll taste
Everyone
pretty
look
good
across.
to me.
What?
I'm going to put my hand back on your shoulder and I'm going to say, "It's all in your head, Sigg. The voices in your head. Shake it off. The real creature's over there."
Sigg will rattle his nerve and look across towards the pillar.
And can you give me a perception check as well?
A perception with enhanced shoulder tap.
You kind
Perhaps
of,
a 19.
you can't really see anything from your position. You can't really see much happening from over there. You can't really see what the others have seen yet.
There is certainly something afoot.
I'm going to keep pointing. So hopefully you'll spot that, Gil. But I'm whispering and pointing.
Try to understand what the Baron is pointing at.
Yeah, can you just give me a perception check as well, please?
Perception. I rolled an 8.
Yeah, I mean, this whatever's back there is clearly kind of keeping itself hidden behind this pillar.
Clearly hidden.
clearly hidden.
I'd like to step forward and try to help Miraqen up from the chasm.
Yeah, yes, certainly. I'll get let's get like a what have we got? Maybe an athletics check from Miraqen to see if she can sort of get up to a point where she can grab your hand.
While the children are playing around looking from a distance and trying to pull themselves out of holes, Lorros is basically just going to walk towards the pillar, seeing no one has been able to see past their own faces. And
I do want to remind you that bridge isn't there.
I will jump it. It's like an 8 foot. I could literally step across that. It's an 8 foot gap. It's tiny.
You could
I
beat
rolled
it.
my acrobatics. Surely he'll have to roll his own. By the way, my acrobatics was terrible at a 9.
I feel like I'm a little bit more acrobatic than you are, or athletic, or dexterous, or something. I don't. Throw me anything.
I'm just having a look at the movement jump thing. It says your strength determines how far you can jump. When you make a long jump, you cover a number of feet up to your strength score.
Piece of cake.
If you move
I can jump 17.
Okay. Wait.
It's an 8 foot jump. I measured it before.
Okay, cool.
So I can jump and walk to there.
Yeah.
And go, hello, monster in their head.
Yeah, and before you get to right next to him, so basically as you're making the jump, this creature sort of you get a glimpse of it and it quickly sort of retreats up, and you guys all just see this disgusting kind of singular eyeballed. It's like almost like a rotted away cyclops or something, like an emaciated looking cyclops, but
it's chicken.
It's yeah, and it's not exactly the most confident.
There's no challenge in that.
But it's backing away, and you kind of hear in your head, Lorros, you're like, keep away! You're not food like the others.
Just to check, you know you go to a black screen when you do that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd like to call out to the creature.
Okay.
Dead silence as I'm calling out to the creature.
Wait! You're different, like me.
He gives a big toothy sort of grin. And he says, where are we?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're not like others. I feel and I understand.
Can you give me a deception roll?
This time, I rolled a 13.
Yeah, and you now sort of are experiencing the sort of numbing sensation in the back of your head, and this whisper. Before the sort of whispering begins, you feel it kind of really grab hold of something within your mind, and there's a whisper that turns into a voice, and you can hear within your head, different. You mean the noble? And there's kind of sarcasm in what he said. The noble is different.
Sorry, did you say perception or deception?
Deception. Sorry.
Deception. Sorry.
Yeah. Is it the same?
I rolled the perception.
Oh, it was a +3. What is your deception?
Deception is a +5.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say that's it's kind of I can retract that if you like, but it's up to you.
I reckon you don't, but I'd like to follow up.
Yeah, sure.
You understand that difference. You understand that's not real, right?
And he's sort of quiet, and that voice in your head sort of is back. It's, you're confusing me.
While Gil stalls the monster, I would like to quietly draw out my bow, if possible, and take aim.
All right, so you're still at the bottom of the crevasse, yeah?
Hmm.
Yeah, so like you
I still don't get the update on whether I got out of the crevasse or not.
Sorry, with a roll of 9, you couldn't quite get up to reach Gil's hand for assistance.
So
Yeah.
I'm still in.
You're still down there.
Cool.
Mr. Gill, what do you make of this beast? Do we slay it?
I prefer we talk before we try more drastic measures, but allow me to parley a moment longer.
Indeed.
Please, we can... Perhaps we are not so different. We know not these Redbrands, we know not you, but we want to learn, we want to understand.
Oh, not them. What am I doing? We don't.
They'll all come back.
No, wait a second. Sorry, the wrong things were touched.
Woo! Right.
Yeah.
It's past 9 o'clock and all things happen here.
He's no longer in your head and sort of speaks out loud for the room to hear. Man, so this is where I'm going wrong. What button am I looking at? There we go. The Redbrands, they want you dead. Because they want you dead, I want you dead too.
Why do you want us dead?
I owe them. They feed me.
Miraqen calls out. He said he wanted to eat us.
And I try to
Haven't the Redbrands brought you to me?
I try to calm our group and see if everybody will allow us to continue the conversation.
Can we hear what he's saying, or is that all in your head?
That part was all out loud. So
We literally heard he wants us dead.
You heard that the Redbrands want you dead, and therefore...
And that he wants us dead.
He wants you dead.
Yeah.
Can I tell what kind of a creature it is? Is it dead?
Give me... No, he's not a...
It's just smelly.
Let's have a quick look here. Give me an insight check. A history check. Because if anyone would know what these are, it would probably be the Baron.
Or I got history or arcana, the same number, but
I will give
history.
it just a history check.
12.
Again, I'm going to give you advantage on this because of who the Baron is. So, as a wizard, you're aware that certain things can happen to wizards. So, this creature, as you are aware, is a Nothic, and you are aware that they were once wizards, not dizzards, were once wizards who dared to unlock magical secrets they couldn't fathom.
What was the name?
A Nothic.
Nothic.
Yeah. So these
It's
were
a wizard
once
that's
very
driven insane. Or...
by learning of things, unlocking magical secrets they just couldn't handle.
What a fate. I'll whisper that to whoever's close to me here, so that I don't want that creature to hear it. I'll just tell them that it's a Nothic, once a human and now driven insane. Become a strange creature.
I'd like to reach out with as the Baron says this, and kind of place my hand up and offer to the creature that he's search out my feelings and understand how I am different and how I understand his pain.
Is there something you want to message me?
Yes. What is the best platform?
Just I reckon just through Discord we're fine. Like if you just message me through Discord. We're keeping secrets from the viewers now as well.
I'll just wait here in the crevasse for the help that is definitely coming.
Okay, let's just assume that while this has all been happening, you're getting assistance out of this crevasse, yeah?
From whom?
Sigg will do that. Sigg has a rope in his pack, and he'll be lowering it down to Miraqen and lifting her up in kind.
Thank you, Sigg.
Okay, all right. So, John, you hear again in the back of your head that just because you're different doesn't make us the same. You don't know the hunger. Come closer and I'll show you the hunger.
Perhaps we can help.
And he's just quiet in your mind.
Tell them that we'll feed them the Redbrands.
Mr. Gill, I do have some very nice Monterey Jack cheese I can give you. I think you'll eat it. But I fear our time spent with this foul creature is running short.
The Baron did mention feeding the Redbrands to the Nothic, and the Nothic did hear this, and he says, "Feed the people who feed me. You'd give me food too."
Absolutely. Has anyone got any body parts in their pockets?
Indeed.
Maybe we could get this thing to lead the way.
Lead the way to where, Mr. Baron?
Well, I'm assuming it knows its way around here. If we could lead it to us to Iano, maybe, and we could feed him Redbrands along the way.
We have just killed a whole bunch.
Yeah.
How about I'll go back to that previous room.
Yes.
I'll get a Redbrand, I'll bring it in, feed the creature, and if it turns out to be evil, we'll just kill it.
All right.
If we get some information from it, then very well. What do you say?
Sounds fair.
By the way, there was a dead body down there. I forgot to mention that. I believe it was perhaps the woodcutter that was murdered, and he looked like he'd been devoured. So I believe this creature does truly intend to eat whatever he can.
We have indeed solidified the criminality of the Redbrands. I will murder them in most haste next time we see them. Mr.
There was
Lorros.
There was also a chest down there, so probably should have gotten that while I was down there, shouldn't I? But I did.
Is the rope still down there? You could climb back down.
As you mentioned that, you can hear the Nothic speaks up. Why is nothing working now? My treasure! Stay away from my treasure!
At the mention of treasure, Lorros's ears prick up, and he's sort of wondering where the treasure chest is. And seeing he's not done a lot today, he's just going to kind of wander down and lower himself down the waist, the hole, and go find the treasure chest.
Do you truly think that wise? This beast seems unpredictable.
He's not dangerous.
I think he is.
Indeed, he seems to have rattled my mind some.
So I think
I'll go get a Redbrand.
Okay.
You guys just
Yeah.
don't do anything drastic.
I don't think he's anything to mess with too. Use some caution. He used to be a wizard.
The Nothic just sort of slowly sort of makes his way down the crevice and sort of blocks the sort of stands in front of this bridge.
So it's 20-foot drop, eh?
It is, yeah.
But it's easy to kind of walk down, or
Yeah,
sort of.
you could make your way down it with a I guess like I'd give maybe like a athletics check, I guess.
Alright. Let's have some fun.
Lorros, where are you going? We're in the middle of bargaining with this beast.
No, I agree.
Okay, with a
I
12.
rolled a 12.
You don't do it gracefully, but you get down without sort of damaging yourself. And the Nothic is kind of hissing. The Nothic is looking none too happy about you sort of approaching him.
Lorros, I implore you, please stay back.
I'm just leaning against the bridge. Well, actually, it's 20 foot, but I'm just kind of leaning and under the bridge, looking at the Nothic, looking at this creature, kind of trying to see around him to see what the chest looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not approaching from any further. I'm just kind of in the crevice with him.
Can you give me a deception check, please?
Deception.
What was the crevice check?
The
Crevice check.
Roll for hold.
I rolled a 13.
All right, you too start feeling this sort of numb sensation in the back of your head, and it tunneling sort of into the recesses of your mind.
There's not a lot there, so it's.
And this voice sort of echoes around in your head with a, "You're the worst. Criminals are the most tasty."
Ooh.
Did he say that out loud?
No, it was.
If you just saying that in my mind, I'm not happy about being reminded about that.
Sigg will pick up the Redbrand and begin dragging it back to the cavern.
Cool. The Nothic, after saying that, sort of starts moving a little closer to Lorros. Drool sort of coming out of its mouth.
Seeing him approach, and after hearing that comment in my head, it's like, I'm going to pull out my axe. You'd do well to be silent, beast.
And in your head, you hear, "You'd do well to be dead." How far away is Sigg? He's pretty decent far away. Yep. What I'm gonna do?
Oh, Sigg, where are
Adventure
you?
is, I think it's time to roll for initiative.
Okay.
Or
I rolled a
Should I say-
4.14.
or should I say roll for initiative? Because I forgot to do that animation last time.
Oh, I got a 17.
I have rolled a 16.
Okay.
I've rolled 11.13 apparently.
Nice. For anyone who's confused by
How
that,
do we do that?
we're adding sort of dex modifiers to our rolls so it can sort of sort out initiative order properly. The Nothic has rolled high. And he's also got a pretty high dex mod, so he is going to be going first here. Can you give me a Constitution saving throw, please, Lorros?
Sure. Constitution, where is it? Oh, there it is. There. Right. I rolled a 16.
Okay, that is enough. You see the Nothic sort of lower himself down, and his eye sort of starts kind of like concentrating on you and closing ever so slightly. You can see some intense concentration coming from him. You can feel that kind of warm sort of numb in the back of your mind, but it disappears. It disappears before anything really occurs. And with that, the Nothic kind of opens its eye again and moves back a little. And Francis, yes, that was a natural one on initiative from Gills. I do believe that was his first
That was my
actual-
first net one. I'm sorry,
Wow.
Francis.
Good spotting.
Jesus.
And so that's
He's been waiting for it for weeks.
He's loving it. Although it's okay. So we'll move.
This is the 10th session, 9th session.
10th. This is episode 10.
Oh.
1 in 10.
Baron, you're up next.
Did I see him doing an attack or?
All you saw was him sort of squat down a little, close his eye a little, have an intense kind of concentration look, and then open his eye and back up. That's all you saw.
Okay. Well, I can tell that it's getting tense. I'm going to yell down the passageway. Hurry up, Sigg. Bring the dead body. And I'm going to just casually ready an action to cast a spell on him if he jumps or anything like that.
All right, okay. If he specifically jumps.
Oh no! If he tries to attack. If he tries to attack.
Cool. All right, Miraqen, your turn.
Miraqen calls out to Lorros, "Lorros, you fool! We were on the cusp of negotiation with this beast, and you're hopeless." And so she's would like to also she would like to ready a dodge, but for her bonus action, she would like to tend to her wounds with healing word.
Okay.
As she whispers it to herself in Elvish, rubbing her damaged leg. And I have rolled 1d4 for 3 healing, which is not great.
Not
but
bad.
it's something.
Yeah, it's something.
That fall was extremely harsh.
Yeah. So what are you readying a dodge for? Just if anything it tries to attack you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sigg, it's over to you.
Sigg has heard some commotion from the cavern, so he'll continue to drag the body down the hallway. I imagine I can make it up to Byrem.
You can make it to here, since it's not a direct line. Each square is 5.
Sweet.
And you're dragging a body, so that's probably as far.
If a bit.
You
if
still
a
got an
head or
action.
something.
Yeah, you do still have an action.
As an action, as Sigg enters the cavern, I'll just call out, "I've got the body."
Okay. All right, and with that, we all hold on to our breath as it is Lorros' turn.
Come on, a little bit of faith. Lorros is not a brute. He's not going to splatter eyeball all over the place. No one believes me, clearly. So, having been threatened in his mind and the risk of others knowing of his past, this mouthy little eyeball is frustrating myself a little bit. So, I'm going to charge said eyeball, screaming as loud as I possibly can. I'm not raging because I haven't had a rest yet, so I actually can't. But I'm still going to run at him and threaten him in the most imposing way I possibly can. And whilst I'm running at him, I'm going to turn my axe around. So I'm not going to cleave him, but I'm going to hit him with a pummel over what appears to be his head. So I'm looking to knock him out. I'm not looking to kill him. I'm looking to shut him up.
Roll to hit.
If this fails, Miraqen, it's on you.
Wait.
What?
Because you called me a fool, friend. Oh, look at that! It's a crit. Fuck yeah! Because you called me a fool for jumping in the pit. So words
That's
had
still
an
up
effect.
for debate. That is still up for debate. Anyway, with a crit success, the edge of the blunt end of your hammer just slams into the side of the Nothic skull, and that definitely sort of shakes the guy, and we've got 17 damage, which is pretty big.
It was only meant to knock him out, not actually do damage. So I guess you'll leave that to.
You got to get him down to 0 HP to knock him out, my friend.
No, fine.
That's how it works. It's not.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's not me introducing new rules.
That's fine. I just wanted it noted that I didn't try and cleave him in two.
Yeah,
unless you've got a Vulcan nerve pinch.
yeah.
Knock him right out.
I'm close enough to do something like that, but
he's rattled and he just lets out this ungodly. I couldn't even begin to create the noise that's coming out of the Nothic right now. And it is Gil's turn.
Seeing Lorros charge the creature and where my allegiances lie, I step forward and I say, Lorros, he hadn't acted in anger yet. I suggest we try to salvage this situation before anything else happens. And I would like to ready an action to cast a spell on him should he attack Lorros.
Okay, all right. So can I just get a count of what's happening should the Nothic attack? So I believe the Baron had something prepared, is that right? Or was that for when it was attacking Lorros or anybody, or you? Or what?
If it attacks, yeah.
Yeah, and there was the same for Gil, and Miraqen was reading a dodge in case it attacked her. We can still have her dodge if it attacks anybody, just for comical relief, I guess. Okay, it is the Nothic's turn. And it knows because it's been in your minds. It knows what each of you are thinking. So it knows not to attack in any sort of visible manner, and it hisses and screams out and hunches back down and stares deep into Lorros's eyes.
Oh, good. We've got a stare-off going on.
Can you give me a Constitution saving throw, please?
I think it's going to get romantic.
Look deeply into my eyes.
If the
9. Oh, this is
could
good.
get romantic.
Oh, okay.
9.
And Random Origins is just given inspiration to the Nothic.
Oh, what?
It's about to get sexy.
Random. That's not cool.
It was too late for this turn, but I've definitely got that in the Nothic's back pocket. I'm just gonna make a note. Okay, so with a roll of 9, Dave, you failed against what the Nothic was trying to do inside your mind. The rest of you don't see any kind of visible attack. You just see Lorros grabbing at his head, and
He's having a thought.
you've
Doesn't happen.
Looks painful.
and you've just had 10 necrotic damage.
Oh, that shit stings. Fucking hell.
I'm trying to decide what I think because he isn't physically attacking, you didn't have a cue to get your moves in, right? But now that you see Lorros in pain, I think you guys, it's only fair that you guys take your turn now. So we'll start with the Baron. You see Lorros gripping his head. Is Lorros making any sort of noise?
I believe something going on in my head is going to be quite painful. So yeah, Lorros is probably going to drop to one knee and gripping his head. All
right.
So it's unexpected.
All right. I was imagining he sounded like a boiling kettle or something. Yeah. Steam shooting out. It's really difficult because I know that he's attacking, right?
Yeah. Well, you just know Lorros is in pain. You know that this Nothic has been in your mind.
Yeah.
So he's obviously doing something in Lorros.
He's having a migraine. Well,
maybe Lorros just can't handle what the Nothic is telling him. You don't know.
I saw that this was all going one way, and Lorros has just smacked it over the head, sort of unprompted. I'm gonna try and salvage the situation. I'm gonna reach back to Sigg and try and grab a body part from you, and I'm gonna try and just loft it over towards the creature and say, we're on the same side, just like Gil says. Lorros is just hasty. Please forgive him.
What I might do is just get a strength check, just so we can see.
Oh, okay.
how
Well, I'm really good
far-
at
Just to see how far this gets thrown.
that. I got a 15, so a
Nice.
16 minus 1.
Okay, cool. So you managed to turf the body part sort of behind Lorros. What have you thrown? Like an arm? Have you?
Well, what did you pass me, Sigg?
Well, you just reached back to grab a body part, did you not?
Yeah, not a knob or
What,
something.
6 body parts, or was it actually
Sorry, what did I say?
a bit of a reach back? You know, it's not quite a reach around, but
The old reach round.
The old reach back. Are you sure that was even the Redbrand you grabbed?
exactly.
Yeah. Hopefully a sack does not land in.
Kind of behind him, putting his arm back. Give me something, Sigg.
Oh,
you know?
no.
Just unzips and places it gently into Baron's hand.
Thank you very much, Sigg.
He's like, toss this. Anyway,
Yeah.
Nice.
Please don't do that.
Sigg does
I'd
Gotta
rather
be more
just-
careful. Gotta be
Sorry.
more careful with your words.
so what
I
was
clearly
that?
said it was an arm.
I know. Sorry, I did miss that. I didn't hear that. And good.
Okay, so you've launched an arm behind Lorros. So Gil, what's your reaction to this?
I think seeing my friend having his brain invaded, kind of call out to the creature and I say, "Stop what you're doing, or else I'll have to test your depth perception." And I'm like, threaten him.
Are you using vicious mockery or no? Okay, all right.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. And we're back to Baron
Back to me.
because that was
How'd
your
that work?
reaction. That was your reaction to the.
Oh,
to the
okay.
Nothic, yeah.
Okay. Well, I might just grab a full torso off you there,
Yeah.
and I'll walk it down and drop it
Okay.
down in front, in between the two. I'm just trying to find my option key. Yeah. And roll it down in between the two of them. And I'm just going to say, step back, Lorros, please.
Cool.
I'm not particularly listening to anything. I've got this thing in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Miraqen, over to you.
I shall move forward up behind Gil, but I don't know exactly how the situation's going to play out. I sense badly, so I take out my bow and ready in action.
Okay, what are you waiting for?
I'm waiting to see if the creature will attack.
Okay. Sigg.
Sigg grabs a pair of legs and drags them along with him as he runs up behind him. Guys, what's going on? Update me.
So what you can see as you get to the side of the crevasse, you see Lorros sort of face to face with the Nothic, but he's down on one knee. You see a torso between them, and Lorros kind of just grabbing his head and screaming or yelling in pain.
With my reaction, I will see if the other members of the party can give me any more updates.
I'd like to yell out to Sigg, Lorros has done exactly what you think he might have done.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Sigg wonders if he can use a bonus action or something to keep doing stuff or not.
Depends what you want to do. What do you want to do?
Okay, Sigg is contemplating scooting down the side of the crevasse, putting his hand on the back of Lorros and dragging him backwards away from the beast.
You've already moved your maximum. You could dash to get down there, but then that you wouldn't have an action to grab or sort of anything.
Sigg thinks it's going to be a great idea in maybe about 6 seconds' time.
Perfect. And we're back to you, Lorros, with your head starting
Excellent.
to ease off.
Awesome. So as the pain clears, it's a bit of a bad headache now, and he's just kind of really fucked Lorros off because he's playing with his mind and really, really agitated me now. I'm I'm going to. So in the process of grabbing my head, I've dropped my axe, and I'm just going to leave it on the ground. I'm going to rise as I rise from my knee, I'm going to reach up and grab what appears to be this thing's neck, and I'm going to lift it and hold him there, and I'm going to say to him, "Get out of my head, or I snap your neck." And I'm just going to hold him there.
All right, roll strength.
It's never good when I do this thing. 18.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That's about the best strength roll I've had for a while.
Yeah, you pretty much had to roll an 18 on that one. So you managed to sort of find a hold around its sort of head, neck area, and you lift it up off the ground. What did you told it to?
I say, "Get out of my head, or I'll snap your neck."
Okay, cool. All right.
And I'm just going to hold him there.
Okay.
Because I can.
Gil, we're back with you.
I'd like to slide down the crevasse. Seated but feet forward.
3 people went somewhere with that.
Crevasse.
It's just the pause after it.
It was sliding down the crevasse. That was probably the...
Check of some sort, or is that fine?
What was that, sorry?
Do I need to make a check of some sort?
Yeah, you can just give me an athletics check.
Can I use acrobatics?
Go on then.
I rolled a 24. That's a net.
Whoa! That's total session.
Ever session?
Do you want to describe how beautifully you make your
It's
way
2 in a row.
that you slide into this crevasse?
I think you see Gil kick one of his legs out and land just ever so softly on his hip as he seems to glide not along the dirt but above it.
Nice.
And slide down into the crevasse, seemingly untouched by what is going on beneath.
His pants get cleaner.
Yeah, pants get cleaner as he slides down the crevasse.
Such an elegant.
Like Teflon down the crevasse.
Francis is calling this the blessed episode.
Oh, brilliant!
Okay, so you've made your way off to the side of Lorros.
Yes, I've moved up to the side of Lorros.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm simultaneously trying to convince Lorros, but also the creature that you said criminals taste the best. I assure you, this man is no longer a criminal. The body parts before you, those certainly belong to a criminal.
Give me a persuasion check on that one.
He's moving.
I rolled an 8.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you're just not being persuasive enough or if he's just not listening to you with what's going on.
He's been choked, I suppose.
Yeah.
Seems fair.
Yeah. And it is indeed the Nothic's turn. And inside Lorros's head. So you wanted him to get out of your head or you'll break his neck? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
He's like, he leaves you some parting words. He's like, I'll get out of your head and into your chest. And he makes an attack with his claws. Now, you guys see this. So I think the Baron had something prepared for if he was, or was it Miraqen?
I had my bow at the ready, yes.
Now, he does have probably half cover at the moment because Lorros is covering half of his body.
Mm.
So
sorry, I'm big like that.
But do give us a roll to hit.
Yes, I will do so. Please. Oh, I've rolled a 16.
A 16 is a miss.
Oh.
The arrow zips past.
Oh.
Nice. Hey, yeah, get some beats going. Anyway,
Was that the arrow zipping part?
yeah.
Musical arrow.
And I think, did the Baron have something? Oh no, he spent his turn.
Yeah, that was last time. I
Yeah.
think this time I just thrown down the body.
Well, the Nothic is cashing in that point of inspiration from
Damn you, random origins.
random origins.
You giveth and then you take away.
He looks down. He looks down at Lorros after talking about getting into his chest.
And then
swipes. And
good laugh.
Sorry. He rolls a crit success.
That's fine.
Whoa.
I'm going to throw my stone's endurance at whatever he does.
Okay, so he slashes across Lorros, doing 9 damage. So are you using
Lorros is going to laugh. Yeah, I'll use stone's endurance on that one and I'll laugh it off.
All right, well give us your roll.
I'll roll my 1d12. I really like that.
Oh, that was right. Sorry.
I really like my little stone's endurance. It's fine. It's a 6.
All right, so you take 3 damage.
I'll take 3.
Right? He then cuts across you with his other claw.
Bring it.
He rolls a 17.
That's a hit.
Doing 9 slashing damage across.
Oh, that's not nice. That was enough to knock me down.
Knock you down as in
he KOs me.
And the Nothic kind of, as you fall, he catches himself on the ground, and sort of snarls at your dead body. He places kind of one hand on Lorros's body, and we'll see what happens next week.
Oh.